The psychology of deep thinkers. Deep thinkers live in a world most people can't see. While others skim the surface, chasing trends and distractions, you find yourself pulled inward toward questions, patterns, and connections that others never pause to notice. It's not something you chose. It's how your mind is wired. Conversations that revolve around gossip or small talk, they drain you, but put you in front of an idea, a mystery, a question about life. And your mind won't rest until it unravels every layer. Carl Jung believed that such minds operate closer to the unconscious currents of humanity. They don't just think logically, they feel the deeper truths behind things, often without being able to explain how they know. And because of that, deep thinkers can feel both gifted and cursed. Gifted, because your insight can cut through illusions like a blade. Cursed, because that same insight can make you feel like an outsider in a world obsessed with noise and speed. The first defining trait of a deep thinker is relentless curiosity. Your mind refuses to accept the surface of things. A simple answer feels incomplete. You want to know not just what happened, but why it happened, what patterns led to it, and what truths lie beneath the obvious. This can make you seem obsessive to others. While most people are content with easy narratives, you peel back layers until the core is exposed. It's not about being skeptical. It's about being unwilling to settle for illusions. Carl Jung suggested that such minds live closer to the shadow of the collective, always questioning, always seeking the unseen, even when the answers are uncomfortable. This is why you might feel restless in ordinary conversations or disconnected in environments where depth is missing. Your mind is built to wander through layers of meaning, even if that wandering isolates you from those who prefer the surface. The second trait of deep thinkers is the inability to turn it off. Your mind doesn't rest easily. Even in quiet moments, thoughts keep unraveling, analyzing past conversations, connecting abstract ideas, or imagining countless futures. At times, this feels like a gift. You see patterns others miss. You can anticipate outcomes before they unfold. But it also feels like a weight, because while others can switch off, you lie awake replaying details no one else noticed, or asking questions no one else cares to answer. Carl Jung believed that when a mind connects deeply with the unconscious, it can't help but explore what lies beneath the ordinary. But this constant mental movement often brings isolation, not because you dislike people, but because your inner world is so rich, it's hard to find others who truly understand it. Sometimes you crave stillness, not the absence of thought, but the rare peace of someone who can meet you in your depth without fear or boredom. The third trait of deep thinkers is heightened sensitivity to the world around them. Not just emotionally, but energetically. You notice the tone of a room before words are spoken, the shift in someone's voice before they admit something is wrong, the tension in the air that others can't quite name. This awareness can feel like a superpower, but it's also exhausting. Because when you sense everything, you carry more than your share. The unspoken emotions, the silent conflicts, the collective weight of environments that others move through blindly. Carl Jung suggested that those attuned to the unconscious often act as mirrors for humanity, reflecting truths most refuse to acknowledge. Your sensitivity makes you a natural observer, sometimes even a reluctant healer. People feel seen by you, but they rarely see how much you absorb in return. This constant intake can leave you drained, searching for solitude not as an escape, but as a way to reset and release the energies you pick up. The fourth trait of deep thinkers is their natural distance from societal illusions. While most people chase trends, praise, and validation, you see through the performance. You recognize how much of the world is built on masks, careers shaped by fear, relationships built on convenience, people living lives that aren't truly theirs. This awareness gives you clarity, but it also creates a divide. Because once you see the game, you can't unsee it. The things that excite most people, status, approval, shallow success, barely move you. Carl Jung believed that those who confront their inner truth develop a kind of quiet rebellion. Not the loud, chaotic rebellion of anger, but the silent refusal to play along with what feels empty or false. This makes you unpredictable to the system and sometimes threatening to people who've built their lives entirely on appearances. It's not that you reject the world, it's that you refuse to lose yourself to it. The fifth trait of deep thinkers is how solitude shifts from feeling like punishment to becoming a necessity. In your younger years, being alone may have felt heavy, like you were missing out or disconnected. But as your mind and awareness deepen, solitude becomes your sanctuary. It's in those quiet spaces that your thoughts settle into clarity. Ideas connect, emotions untangle, and the noise of the world fades long enough for you to hear yourself. This isn't about isolation forever. It's about balance. Because when you spend too long immersed in the chaos of surface-level interactions, you start to feel drained, like your essence is scattering. Carl Jung believed that individuation, the process of becoming whole, often requires stepping away from the crowd so you can reconnect with the deeper parts of yourself. For a deep thinker, solitude isn't an escape. It's a way to stay whole in a world that constantly pulls you apart. The sixth trait of deep thinkers is the paradox of connection and distance. You crave meaningful bonds, relationships built on honesty, shared depth, and mutual growth. But because your standards for authenticity are so high, you often find yourself walking alone. It's not arrogance. It's alignment. You've seen what shallow connections do, how they drain your energy, distract your focus, and pull you away from the truths you've worked hard to uncover. Carl Jung believed that those who operate deeply can't sustain relationships that force them to live superficially. Your soul simply refuses. It would rather endure stretches of quiet isolation than compromise its integrity just to fill the silence. This paradox can feel heavy at times, wanting connection, but unwilling to dilute your essence to get it. Yet, it's this very commitment to depth that makes the rare relationships you do form feel unshakable and life-giving. Being a deep thinker is not about feeling superior. It's about carrying a mind that refuses to sleepwalk through life. It's a blessing because you see truths others miss, and a challenge because those same truths can make the world feel heavy, distant, even hostile at times. Carl Jung believed that the journey of self-awareness isn't meant to be comfortable. It strips away illusions, forces you to confront yourself, and often separates you from the crowd. But it also grants something priceless: clarity. A sense of inner freedom that no external approval can match. Your mind was never meant to be ordinary. It was built to dig deeper, to uncover meaning, to hold space for truths that most avoid. And while this path can feel lonely, It also leads to the kind of fulfillment that only comes when you live authentically, aligned with the depth of who you truly are. In the end, your thoughts aren't a curse. They're your compass. And if you learn to trust them, they'll lead you to the life few ever find.